Lori here. Bookmas is officially over, but I am still here for content. Normally, at the end of every year, I do a really big unhaul and I go through all my bookshelves and I just sort of pull off the books that I'm not going to read. But because I was in Disney and because the last couple of weeks were just a little bit chaotic, I didn't get a chance to do that. And as I've been like watching everyone's videos and kind of getting excited to pick up some new books, I sort of tore my shelves apart. You could see behind me a lot of the books have vanished because I decided to unhaul them or move them to different shelves, and I really feel happy with my decision. Again, libraries are a thing, hoopla is a thing, so I am going through this video and I am going to keep track of how many books I'm unhauling just because I've never really done that before. And just there is, I do have my bullet journals. I'm going to keep a checklist of like 10, maybe 20 books that I'm still interested in reading that my library does have, and I will keep those. So the first stack of books I'm going to unhaul is The Cost of Knowing by Brittany Morrison. By Brittany Morris. My library does have a copy of this, and I heard from a couple of people it is a little bit of an anxious read. So I will have to be in like a good mindset to read this book, but my library does have access to it, and I really did like her book Slay. I just think I'm probably going to pick up the audiobook for this. Some of these are just really, really weird. I'll say that. Going Vintage by Lindsay Lovett is a romance I think I got from one of like my book sales, and it is, honestly, it seemed cute in the moment, but I've had this book for so many years and just never picked up a copy. This was like from my like old booktube days when I was like watching endless videos to get recommendations, and I saw it and I picked it up. Goodbye from Nowhere by Sarah Zarr is a male lead contemporary. But again, it just doesn't seem that interesting, and I've literally had it since ALA, and I still haven't picked it up, so alas. This one I might regret. I might regret doing this, but I am going to unhaul 99 Days by Katie Cotugno. I am not the biggest fan of love triangles, and I'm not the biggest fan of love triangles with brothers, so I don't know how I would have felt about this anyway, but... And I've liked Katie Cotugno's other books. She just hasn't been an author that I've like gravitated towards. So I think I'm going to unhaul this as well. And then 2 nonfiction books that I've had for so long. Atomic Women, I actually have an audiobook of, so I'm going to unhaul this one. And Unexplained, Real Life for Uncertain Times. I got at like a con and they were like giving away copies. It sounded interesting. But again, I literally have tried. I just have not felt motivated to pick it up. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books I'm unhauling so far. There is a lot more, but those are the first 6 that I wanted to chat about. I'm going to unhaul is Dragon Hoops, which I actually might save this for my students and bring this to school because I think that they might get a kick out of it. But it is about like I think this is like a basketball one. So maybe I'll save this to give to my students. I have a couple of kids that are involved in basketball, but I am definitely going to find it a new home. Another one, Ciel and Martinez and the Moonlight Beginning of Everything, is just a contemporary book that it really just did not capture me. It has to do with like aliens, and also her mom. It also has to do with undocumented immigrants. It sounds interesting. Just again, if I really wanted it, I could probably get it from my library. Another book, The Small Crimes of Tiffany Templeton. I think me and my friends were doing like a book swap, and I got that one, and this doesn't sound interesting. Switched by Amanda Hocking is one I might wind up keeping because it's not actually mine. It's like a friend of mine's. That one I might see if she wants back. A Phoenix First Must Burn. I will be honest, I really struggle with short story collections. I think I've read 6 that I really liked, and just not that one. Runaways by Kristen Golden. This is based around the Hulu series that got canceled. I should have read this when I bought it, and I didn't, so that's like more of a me thing. And Saint Anything by Sarah Dessen is just a book. I really want to like Sarah Dessen's books, but I have one I'm keeping. I have her wedding planning one that I'm going to keep. Hopefully I still do like that one, but these books just did not capture my fancy, and that's why I'm unhauling. If these are your favorite books ever, I am so happy. If you can make a case and think I should add it to my list, comment below, and maybe I will add it to my list. But most of these I am going to unhaul, and they can find new homes. I don't believe in throwing away books. I believe in finding them new homes, whether it be donating them or giving them to a school or giving them to my students. Someone will always find a book. A book will always find its audience if you let it, and that is why they're getting donated and not thrown out, which I am a firm no. Don't throw out books, but find them a good home in whatever way you can. 8 books that I'm going to unhaul is Gertie, Milk, and the Keeper of Lost Things. This was a middle grade book that just honestly did not capture my attention. When I was going through all my shelves, it just did not make the cut. And unfortunately, I'm going to unhaul it. The Explorer Academy, the Double Helix. This is a very, very science-y based book. And I don't know what happened to the second book, so I don't think I can read them really out of order. All Eyes on Her by L.E. Flynn, I think is a mystery. The girl in the white van is like another thriller. But again, there's so many like new thrillers coming out that have interest. If We Were Giants, which did have like not a supernatural, like a climate change element to it. But I have a couple other books similar to it. The Possible by Taylor Altaburno is another book. She does write like mystery thrillers, but again, it just does not seem that interesting. And Perfect Lies by Kirsten White. I liked Mind Games. I didn't love Mind Games, and I really don't feel the need to keep reading that series. And The 10th Girl by Sarah Faring. I DNF'd White Fox. I really struggled with it, and I was keeping this thinking I would like it, but you know what? It's just not going to happen, unfortunately. That I'm going to unhaul is The Downstairs Girl, but I am going to put this on my library queue because they do have the audiobook, and I did pick it up, and then I just didn't get around to finishing it, but I am still interested in this one, and I hope to pick up the audiobook soon. A Sweet Mess by J.C. Lee. I heard okay things about this, but again, I've had it for so long, and I just never picked it up. Catch a Falling Star by Kim Culbertson. I picked this up at a dollar sale. The Lonely Hearts Club by Elizabeth Ewelberg. A lot of these are just really old contemporaries. Let Me List the Waves by Sarah White is just a contemporary. Again, I have so many contemporaries I'm like thrilled for, and I just need a little bit more room. Scouts was a middle grade book that I picked up at one of the conventions, and again, I've had it for so long, it didn't make the cut. Every Missing Piece is another book that I got from Disney that just didn't make the cut. And The World Ends in April is another book sort of about the apocalypse, like a modern apocalypse. And I'm just did not sound that interesting, unfortunately. But, it did stay on my shelves for quite a long time. I just haven't picked it up. And that is why I'm on Haul Swap. The books are down below me, and I need to do it this way. But a couple other books I'm going to unhaul is At the Ends of the World by Maggie Hall. I just have no desire to go back and reread the series to complete it. Roxy by Neil Schusterman and Jared Schusterman is about the opioid epidemic. It is a thriller, so if I hear a lot of good things, maybe I'll pick it up through my library. The Deceivers by Kristen Simmon is a thriller. Also, The Insomniacs is a thriller. It's been a bit since I've got those, and again, just never seen that interesting. Steel Striker by Mary Lou. I picked this up because I wanted to meet her, and I just, after picking it up, I'm like, you know what? I didn't love the first book. I don't think I'm going to read it. The Lost Apothecary. I've heard people saying this is like their worst books of the year, and if I really want to get it, I have the audiobook that I can maybe pick up. These are 2 sequels to the Loki's Wolves, Odin Ravens, and Thor Serpents, and I like the first book, but not enough to continue. That's why I don't buy books so far in advance. This is another one, the Unicorn Rescue Society. This is like one of the books later in the series, and if I want to read the series, I can pick up the audiobooks. The Cursed Sea by Lauren DeStefano. I like the first book, but it's been so long, I would have to go back and reread it, and I just I'm not going to make that commitment quite yet. So, and then a couple of other books is Rise by Helene Godet. I liked Rule. It wasn't my favorite, and I just have not got around to reading the sequel, but again, that's why libraries exist. A Witch Alone by James Nicole. If I get around to reading the first book in this series, which I am keeping, I will grab the audio or get it from my library. And then also The Secrets of the Stone by Camilla Banco. Again, if I get around to reading the first one, that I'm keeping, I will grab the second book from my library. We will see how that all goes. Another one that I might keep for my students is Hocus Pocus, the comic book you could play. They tend to like that. Rebel, another one by Mary Lou. I really have not read much by Mary Lou, and this is the sequel to A Legend, which I am also unhauling, so I'm going to put that there. And then one I'm going to add to that list is The Traitor Prince by C.G. Redwine, just because I would like to read it, but I just didn't get around to reading it in like a timely fashion. The Wild Swan Stars, I'm just going to unhaul because I'm going to unhaul the first one, and honestly, I just don't have much desire. And Split Second by Casey West. This is the only book by her I have not read, but I wasn't the biggest fan of her first book, to be very honest with you, so that is why I'm unhauling it. Here are a couple of thrillers that, again, I've had for a very, very long time. Rated by Melissa Gray. Swipe Right for Murder by Derek Malin, and You're Next. Again, these are just some books that I've had for a while, and I just have not got around to reading, so that is why I'm going to unhaul them, and we will be back for another stock. Is A Line in the Dark by Melinda Lowe. I don't even know what this is about, to be very honest. I think I got it in one of my book boxes, and it just didn't seem that interesting for me to keep. The Shortest Distance Between Love and Hate by Sandy Hall is another contemporary. And again, I told you Legend was going to make an appearance. Legend by Mary Lou. If I do want to read Legend, this would be a reread for me. I will get the audiobook for my library because they definitely have it. So I'm just doing this in weird setups because like I have to try to organize the books, and that's why like the paws will be really, really small so I can put them in bags and such. But I'll be back for another sec. To share with you, these two go together. One is Waistcoats and Weaponry, and the other is Curtsies and Conspiracies. I did read Etiquette and Espionage last year. Didn't love it. I liked it. Dry by Neil and Jared Schusterman. Again, I just didn't love it. I'm not as excited to pick it up. Things We Couldn't Say by J. Coles, again, is a book that just hasn't called out to me. Let Me Hear a Rhyme by Tiffany Jackson. I want to read her thrillers, but again, this book just, I'm sure it would be great. It just doesn't sound right up my alley. And again, if you want to pick it up, that's great. It just doesn't sound like something I would love or enjoy. This Lullaby is by Sarah Dessen. Again, I'm just kind of unhauling my Sarah Dessens. A Love-Hate Thing by Whitney D. Grayson. Sanctuary by Carrie Lanks. I've heard really bad things about this book, and again, I'm just trying to get rid of books I think I'm not going to love. Fascinators is a magic story, but it just has not captured me since I've had it on my shelves. Shadow in the Empire of the Night by James Rootley. I picked this one up, and I just couldn't mesh with the writing style. Kissing Lessons by Sophie Jordan. I have an e-arc if I do want to read it. And Kill the Farm Boy by Dale Dawson and Kevin Hernini. I have an audiobook for this one. So these are probably going to make that list because I do have access to them. And I'll go over that list maybe in a different video. But I am going to unhaul the physical copies. And Asylum by Madeline Rue. Again, I had hoped I would like this book. But again, I read it a little bit during one of my readathons and I just put it down. So I think I'm going to unhaul it. All This Time by Mickey Daughtry and Rapin Lickencock. These is a little bit of a more darker one. And the summary didn't sound that interesting to me. So also another one that was a little bit darker was The Last Thing You Said by Sarah Burney. So that one I'm also going to unhaul. Another book about aliens that came from the sky by Chelsea Sedetti. Seven at Sea, I am going to pick up the audiobook for because it is a story that I've wanted to read more about. Yale Needs Women is a book that if I do want to read it, I will probably get the audiobook for, because normally when I read nonfiction, it's just more self-help and shorter chapters. Also, Throwback by Peter Legjaris is another middle grade book that just did not make the cut. And a book I've had for so long and I've never picked it up is Empress of a Thousand Skies by Rhoda Benzia. This one I got at like one of my first Books of Wonder signings, back when Book of Wonder was still allowed to have book signings. So those are the next 7 books that I'm unhauling. Quite big, Kingdom of Black, back by Mary Lou. I really wanted to love this book, but I just never got around to honestly picking it up. It is her foray into historical fiction with a magic twist. Rain on Earth and Prison in the Sky I have had for so long. And I just never got around to reading them. Disaster Days by Rebecca Breris is another book I've had for so long. It was a display copy, I think, at my last BEA that I went to. Trouble Girls is a queer reimagining of Thelma and Louise, but it just did not capture me enough to pick it up over the summer. The Night of Your Life is a prom story, just a boy and a girl in a little canoe. Again, it's just not one that I ever picked up during the summer. We Didn't Ask for This by LD Alced. Again, I just got it at ALA. Say You'll Remember Me by Katie McGarry. I am unhauling this. I love Katie McGarry's book, but this has one plot point that I hate to read about. That's why I'm unhauling it, which is so sad because I love her, but I don't think I could read the book. War and Speech by Donna Zalis is a book that I just, again, was not captivated enough. Imposter Queen I have had for so long, and again, I just never got around to wanting to read it. Wicked Box I have actually read. This was from one of my book boxes. Sorry, these books are going to fall probably. The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein by Kirsten White. Even If We Break by Marja Kamen. I just sometimes struggle with slasher books, I'll be honest. Twice in a Blue Moon by Christina Lauren. This is a book that I think I'm like the least excited for, so I am going to unhaul it. Girls, Sorp and Thorn by Melissa Bannerhouse. I just have not heard the best things about it. The stock is going to like fall, so I'll try to be quick. These Darkest Corners I am going to put on my list to try to get the audiobook at some point. And Take Me With You by Tala Archibald is another thriller that author had. So I'm going to stop this clip so I can take these books off my knee, and we'll come back for another stack. A shorter stack, Dumpling by Julie Murphy. I just never picked it up. Allies by Alan Grant. I just never picked this one up either. Another short story collection, 16 stories to steal the spotlight. Black Girl Unlimited. I tried to read this and it just did not capture me enough, unfortunately. But let's go back to more books. At the end, I have 2 more big unhauls for you. One is Dead in the Dark by Courtney Gold. I just did not get around to reading this, and unfortunately, it just did not capture my attention. Hood by Jenna Elder Moak. I read her later book, her sequel series, or her other series, and I just didn't love it as much. So I don't think I'm gonna pick this one up. I think this is the one I read like 50 pages of and just wasn't feeling it. Everlasting Rose by Danielle Clayton. I like The Bells. I didn't love it. That is why it's been hanging around. Seasons of the Storm, I am interested in, but I think I'm going to unhaul it and get the book from my library or the audiobook at some point. Juliet Takes a Breath is a romance book that I got from one of my book boxes, and I just am not that interested in it anymore. The President's Daughter by Bill Clinton and James Patterson. I do want to read this. I will probably grab the audiobook. Probably shouldn't have bought it, but it was on sale at Costco. And then Slasher Girls and Monster Boys. Again, I really fail at reading anthologies, and that's just really, really clear to me. So those are another couple of 7 or 8 books that I'm also unhauling. But the last stack of books is Tune It Out by Jamie Summer, which I got from one of my PR packages. Windfall by Jennifer E. Smith. I've had this book for such a long time, and I never picked it up, unfortunately. Bright Burns the Night. I think I wanted to read this and then I got distracted. I got that so long ago. Mouse Watch is another one. Begone the Raggedy Witches by Claire Kieran. Again, these are some just books I got from cons. Set Fire to the Gods. I do have an audiobook, so I'm going to add that to like my list of books. The Wrath in the Dawn by Renee Audier. I have not heard the best things about it. The False Prince, I can get this from my library. If I do want to read it at some point. Stepsister by Jennifer Donnelly. I did not feel captivated enough to pick that one up. Again, The Truth About Forever by Sarah Dessen. I have a couple of Sarah Dessen books on my Kindle. And then we have Coco and Jinx. These are a couple more of like ALA arcs, and then Sky Without Stars and Between Burning Worlds. These books are massive, and I just have not heard the best things about them. So that is why they are going to get unhauled. Aristelle and Dante Dive into Waters of the World by Benjamin Alaire Sanz. The Gray Shear by Kim Liggett. I did keep a couple other books by Kim Liggett. And again, this is Dawn Breaks the Dawn and Sweet Black Waves. I did get rid of both the sequels. And then 9 Days and 9 Nights by Katie Cotugno. Finding Audrey by Sophie Kinsella, and Wild and Change. So these are all the books that I'm unhauling. I'm going to give you guys a numbers check. I am including the books I'm unhauling from my December TBR as well, but I've gone over those in like a previous video. So let's add it all up, and I'll show you guys how many books I'm unhauling to start 2022 off correctly or right. For this book haul, about 150 bucks, which I think is pretty good. Again, I'm also having like 9 books on a TBR that I'm just going to try to read if I get around to them, and I will tell you what they are in a second, just because I think it would be interesting, and then because, you know, I think it would be interesting. The ones I am unhauling that I still do want to read is The Cost of Knowing, The Downstairs Girl, Kissing Lessons, Kill the Farm Boy, Seven at Sea, Darkest Corners, The President's Daughter, Seasons of the Storm, Set Fire to the Gods, and The False Prince. So those are the books that I'm most interested in still reading, and I did write them in my bullet journal, which hopefully means I will keep an eye out for them when I go to the library. Thank you guys for watching this video. Let me know what is some books that you have unhauled recently, and I'll talk to you guys for my next video. Bye, friends.